Hi everyone. I am ready to talk to you about your last assignments for the semester. People are doing a good job on lesson planning, and those are getting graded and getting done with and checked off the list, and now it's time to prepare for the last few assignments of the course. You may have noticed that I uploaded documents for these assignments on Blackboard, so you can read through all the rubrics, read through the directions. These should be fairly short assignments, although they will take you a little bit of time. There are no more entry tickets for the semester, but there will be 2 more discussion posts. One is going to be on your presentations of your content presentation that you did earlier in the semester. I'm still waiting for at least one of those. And then the other one will be on this next presentation that you have on a YA counter-narrative book. So let me talk through these 3 assignments, starting with the YA counter-narrative literature assignment. So for this assignment, you need to pick a book that you could use in a middle grades classroom. It could be something you do as a read aloud. It could be something you have students do. It could even be something that is nonfiction that you might use some of the primary resources out of. But you need to pick one book that represents a counter narrative. So it should be a book that gives a new perspective on any social studies topic, but it needs to be from a perspective that's not normally focused on in traditional social studies curriculum. And I'll give you a few examples. So for example, a book I have here would be a counter-narrative on the topic of immigration. It's called Return to Sender, and it's a really great book. It's through the perspective of 2 children. One is an immigrant, a child of an immigrant whose dad is a migrant farm laborer, and the other is from the perspective of a child who's on that farm whose family is being helped by those laborers. So really interesting book. I have some other examples on the paper, but all I'm asking you to do is just check your choice with me. And usually it's good if it's something you want to do. Find something that's really quick, I would say, something that you could read in a weekend. YA books are really usually pretty fast reads. And then you're going to do a 6 to 8 minute book talk that covers the summary of the book, how it was representative of a counter narrative of a social studies topic, and new understandings you came to about the social studies topic. So one thing that we don't give young adult literature enough credit for is how much it can help us with our content knowledge on social studies topics. So I want you to talk a little bit about that. Another one that I had one of my students read that I don't have with me right now is called One Crazy Summer, and it's about girls who go and live with their mom, and they during the 1960s, and they learn more about the origins of the Black Panther movement during that time period. So another one that I have on the list is called Inside Out and Back Again. It's written from the perspective of a girl who immigrated here as a refugee from Vietnam. There is a ton of great young adult literature out there. If you just explore a little bit, you'll be able to find lots of good ideas. National Council for Social Studies puts out a notable trade book list every year. You might find some on there, but there's also a lot of multicultural literature lists out there. So all you need to do is just find one that interests you and check it with me quick. Send me a quick email and say, would this work? And then read it over Thanksgiving break, and you're going to do a quick book talk of it before the end of the semester, and I'll figure out the due date for that. It'll probably be about a week after Thanksgiving break. All right. The next 2 assignments are due at the very end of the semester. Like, I'm thinking the week of finals week they'll be due in addition to your final exam, because I want to give you enough time to do a good job on them, but also the unit plan part 3 you won't be able to do until you're totally done teaching and have collected all your evidence of their assessments from them. So the unit plan part 3 is asking you to take remember I've talked to all of you about this, take the evidence from the pre-assessment and the post-assessment, and you need to show how there was growth. And I know that these unit plans are a little inauthentic. You were teaching the lesson plans a week apart, and it's not going to be something, earth-moving. But what you need to practice doing is looking at quantitative data of this many students moved from below proficient to proficient on this goal, and you also have to look at qualitative findings. So look at this student's ability to talk about the enlightenment before the unit, and now look at how many specific details they can write down after the enlightenment, and look at how in-depth their understanding is. So part 1 and part 2 are just a quick question about a quantitative finding that you have, and a qualitative finding. The quantitative finding could be even just be a quick chart of how many students were proficient before and how many after. Part 3 then is to just think about your whole unit and how you might have changed your unit, thinking forward now after you've taught it. And part 4 is looking particularly at your lesson plans and how you might change those. So really all we're doing here is reflecting on this unit and how we taught it. And then part 5, I'm going to ask you to upload one video to a site called GoReact, and that is going to give you the ability to look at your video and to reflect on some specific teaching practices that are specific to social studies that are you proud of and ones you want to work on. So this assignment should take you no more than a couple hours to do at the most. And then the last assignment is called the Professional Development Inquiry Cycle. Again, this is about a one-page paper. It shouldn't feel more than that. It was going to be quite a bigger project, but because of how the semester has gone, I have drastically shortened it. So what I want you to do here with this Professional Development Inquiry Cycle is I want you to think about your big goals as a middle grade social studies teacher, kind of your philosophy about it. And I want you to develop some kind of heuristic. A heuristic is a mental shortcut. So when you are really overwhelmed with all the stuff coming at you as a new teacher, you can say, actually, these are my priorities as a middle grade social studies teacher. So if I can stick to these priorities, that'll help me make decisions about what I want to spend my time on and what I don't want to spend my time on. It might even help me make decisions about curriculum, etc. So your heuristic could look like a concept map. It could look like some kind of mnemonic device, a poem, a piece of artwork that you create. It needs to be a heuristic that you create that is focused on your philosophy as a middle grade social studies teacher. And then you need to explain it in one developed paragraph. Then you are going to look at that heuristic and say, this is what I think it means to be a good middle grade social studies teacher. And here's one thing based on that I still need to work on. And so what you're going to do is you're going to pick a professional development learning objective or inquiry question for yourself. So I think being a good middle grade social studies teacher means that I need to have equitable practices in my classroom. And so then that might look like what are some equitable practices in middle grade social studies? That might be my inquiry question. And then you need to brainstorm one action step you can take towards meeting that goal. It could be that you read a book. It could be that you watch a podcast, a documentary, you engage in a specific training or workshop. You need to find that specific source, that action that you're going to do. You don't need to do it yet. That was going to be the project, but since we're out of time, I just want you to identify what that professional development action step is, and then share with the class in a 5-minute video about what your heuristic is, how it represents your goals as a middle grade social studies teacher, and what objective you have for yourself to further professionally develop as a social studies teacher in middle grades, and then what is one action step you're going to do to meet that goal. You don't have to complete it, but you're just making out a plan, basically. Okay? All right, guys. As always, keep me updated of what you're at over email or text message or phone calls. We're going to get you through this semester, but we've got a little bit more work to do, and I think the Thanksgiving break might be a good time to catch up and maybe even feel like you're a little bit ahead of the game. So check the Blackboard for due dates for these last 3 assignments. As I said, the rubrics and directions are already up there. There's no more entry tickets, and you'll have 2 more discussion posts. One will be the content inquiry presentations to watch your classmates, and the other be to watch your classmates book talk once we get those turned in. All right, we're almost done. Take care, hang in there, and I will talk to you all soon probably. Have a good one. Bye-bye.